I, 38F, am considering leaving my boyfriend, 32M, after finding out I am pregnant. My boyfriend, 32M, and I recently found out that I, 38F, am pregnant. We have been together for 6 months. We had discussed getting married and starting a family eventually, and it is something we both wanted. It just happened sooner than expected. Some background on me. I'm a single mother of a 6-year-old. The father is not involved by choice. He left while I was pregnant. However, since I have become pregnant, some of our conversations have really freaked me out, and I am honestly considering ending our relationship. We have had conversations where he has assured me that he will support me in whatever way I chose to birth and care for our child after they are born, since you have experience and have researched all of this. But then turn around and say totally off-the-wall stuff. However, this is an example of a recent argument we had. Me: I know we had talked about you building a crib, but I wanted to show you something I was thinking about. I show him a few images of Montessori floor beds. One happens to have rails similar to a crib but without legs, as well as a little gate that can be closed to keep the child contained in the space. Him: why is that gate there? Me: I'm not sure. Maybe to keep the baby contained once they start moving and crawling around. A lot of people have issues with their kids climbing out of cribs when they are older and they can fall or get hurt. This option eliminates that possibility. Him: my baby won't be contained by that, he'll be a ninja. Me: okay. Well, this is similar to what I did with my Lo. When my roommate and I both had kids under the age of 2, we had floor beds, made sure the room and everything in the space was safe for the baby and used a baby gate at the door, so it basically turned the whole room into a crib. Then, it created a baby-safe space where the girls could be placed, in the case that we needed to take care of something, poop, take the trash out, etc. And we would know they were in a safe place even if they were crying. Him: I don't want to put my baby in a padded room. Me: I didn't say anything about padding the room. Him: you were talking about baby-proofing. That means putting padding on hard or pointy corners, latches on drawers, that sort of thing. Look up baby-proofing online and you'll see what I mean. Me: I've never really done a ton of baby-proofing. My home has always been set up to be child-friendly and encourage autonomy and self-sufficiency. I just keep things out of reach that are not appropriate for children to have access to. Him: I want my kid to get hurt. I believe that kids learn from mistakes and getting injured. If they get hurt, they will learn what not to do again. Me: yes, but we are talking about a child that is the age of newborn to 6 months old. It's a parent's responsibility to provide children with protection from danger and a safe space to live in. Babies that young don't have the mental capacity to understand why they get hurt and learn from a mistake like that. Him: I want to raise a kid, especially if it's a boy, to be self-sufficient and navigate the world to be able to survive on their own. Me: again, we are talking about children under the age of a year. They need appropriate spaces with limits and boundaries. Him: I don't believe in baby-proofing. Me: okay, fine then. Let's just put some crushed glass, knives and nunchucks in baby's room and see how they fare, if that's what you would prefer. Obviously sarcasm. Him: I wasn't saying we should do that. Me: I know, it was a joke. I'm being sarcastic. Him: no you weren't. You think I'm an idiot and that's what I want to do. He proceeds to say he is done, and leaving. Walking out of my apartment to go home. I asked him not to walk out on me because I do not feel secure when he does that and ask if we can just try to calm down and get to the root of what this is really about. The conversation proceeds to: me: I was just trying to share something with you that I was excited about and it had worked for my LO. Him: you didn't say that at all. Me: yes, I told you about how my roommate and I tried it with our kids and it worked out well. Him: no you didn't. Me: I did say that and I know I did. Him: I don't want to pad things or use safety gates or childproof anything in our home. I don't believe in safety. I went to a Montessori school when I was a kid and pushed another kid on this wooden walking beam in the classroom. He fell and broke his arm. They didn't set up a padded environment for us there. We learned from our mistakes and got hurt. Me: you don't believe in safety? What does that even mean? I just literally don't understand what kind of statement you are trying to make. When a baby is born until they are at least 6 months old, they are helpless creatures, totally dependent on their parents to care for them and keep them safe. If you take a baby that young and leave it in the woods alone, it would not survive. Him: I disagree. Me: Okay, let's just skip the car seat. We can let the baby roll around in the back seat. Maybe we can also put a bunch of blankets and pillows in this crib you build and see if the baby manages to survive and not smother itself since you don't believe in safety. Have a good night." He drives home. Am I wrong to feel like I do not want to have a child with this person and/or parent with them? This conversation felt totally insane and unreasonable to me. And since, we have had several, more frequent tiffs, blowouts of a similar vein since I became pregnant. He has also said he intends to send the kid to boarding school no matter what, even if the kid has no interest in going. I have lost all of my attraction to him or desire to even be around him. I need some feedback. Too long did not read. Boyfriend and I recently found out I was pregnant. He has now started telling me outrageous stuff like, he doesn't believe in safety or baby-proofing. I have lost all attraction to him and any desire to have him around. I am considering ending the relationship. I'm not sure if he's just talking out of his SS because he's angry in the moment, or if this is a major red flag. I wouldn't have a child with that person. He doesn't sound very smart. So you stay together and argue about how you're being too careful with baby, because you want your child to live, or you split. He gets joint custody and you'll just have to hope he doesn't leave baby in the bath alone because it was only 3 inches of water. The baby comes first. He's a weirdo. He sounds like an idiot, and may inadvertently hurt the child if you leave it with him. I'm really sorry, but your boyfriend is stupid. My 25F boyfriend, 28 male, says my boundary is controlling. My 25 female boyfriend, 28M, says my boundary of not wanting to be with someone who goes to strip clubs is controlling. I've explained to him several times that my ex of 3 years had multiple relations with several strippers, and as such it is a hard limit. He said he is grown man, and he can do whatever he wants and doesn't have to follow the rules of someone else. I said I agree, you're absolutely allowed to do whatever you want, but I won't be in a relationship with someone who cannot put my feelings over seeing another woman naked, getting a lap dance. I told him this before things even got serious with us, and he said he didn't want to go to one anyways, so it was fine and he understood. Now all of a sudden, I'm trying to control him. I don't think I am. I never said, "You're not allowed to go to a strip club." I said it was a boundary of mine, and if it is something he feels he needs to do, then we can just go our separate ways. It wasn't even a threat, because we weren't even serious. He brought it up a few days ago, that he wants to go for his friend's birthday. I reminded him of my boundary, that he agreed to because we became exclusive, and he told me that his boundary was not to be with someone who controls him. I said, I'm not trying to control you, but if that's a boundary for you, that's fine and we can end things now. My boundary will not change. He replied that he doesn't want to end things. And I just reiterated that he can't go to a strip club and also have me. It's just a hard boundary I don't foresee myself ever going back on. I feel like he is trying to push me to throw my boundary out the window, but I know for a fact I won't feel good about it. We've only been together for 6 months, so at this point I really think it would just be less of a headache if cut things off. I care about him, but I'm not interested in being a cool girlfriend who pretends I'm totally fine with something I find extremely disrespectful. He thinks I'm being irrational. I think it's kind of messed up he is trying to push against something, again, I warned him about before agreeing to be his girlfriend. Thoughts? Too long did not read. Boyfriend wants to go to a strip club against my hard boundary, but doesn't want to break up to do so, and says I just shouldn't be controlling. Update. I got sick of commenting the same thing over and over again. He came over, we spoke and he said he was definitely 100% going. A private room was booked, he was getting lap dances, and I'd just have to be okay with it. I told him I was not okay with it, and if he really wanted to go I wouldn't stop him, but I also wouldn't continue the relationship with him. He knew I considered it cheating, and was basically asking my permission to cheat on me. I broke up with him in the end, he called me crazy, something he knows is a trigger, and left. About an hour after the breakup he was calling and texting me. His texts flip-flopped between, "You're being crazy," to, "I love you please talk to me baby." And then eventually I was a crazy bitch. Around 4:30 a.m., he used my hidden key to enter my apartment, and I was woken up to him crawling into my bed and crying that he didn't think I'd actually dump him. Crazy, he knew from the beginning, agreed to the boundary, and expected me to just drop it since we had an emotional attachment? Not happening. Then, a few hours later he texted me about how it was all made up because he wanted to see my reaction. There is no strip club party, he just wanted to see how I'd react if it ever came up in the future. He wasn't expecting me to actually break up with him. This wasn't any better than there actually being a strip party in my opinion. This might actually be worse. He wanted to see how far he could push my boundary, to see if I'd let him cross it. Although I'm not sure I believe him anyways, he said it's a regular bar party, and I'm invited, but why wait hours and after a breakup to admit it? Maybe it's crazy to assume he spoke to his friend and asked him to cover for him with a regular party, and then go to the strip party in secret. But it's also freaking crazy to make up something just to see if you can get your girlfriend to sacrifice her feelings for your fun. Either way, I won't be getting back with him, ever. This was an eye-opening experience. My locks are getting changed by maintenance today, and his number is being blocked. I'm too old be playing these middle school games. As for the comments that said I was punishing my boyfriend for the actions of my ex, wrong. I've never ever been okay with this. I've always considered naked women rubbing their tits and ass on you to be cheating regardless of where it takes place. I don't care if it's normalized by TV, movies, etc. It is not something I am willing to ever tolerate in a partner. I don't care if it's seen as controlling either. If you think saying, "I won't tolerate being cheated on, I will leave," is controlling, that's you. And it's also why I said it before we entered a relationship. It's why I worded it, "Hey, I can tell things are getting serious. Before we are exclusive, I think going to strip clubs and getting lap dances are cheating. If your ideals don't align, that's fine. I won't try to control you. We just don't need to pursue a relationship. It's a boundary I won't ever cross." He said he was fine with it. They're stupid. He doesn't want to go. He also said male strip clubs are different because male strippers will sleep with women customers for free, but you have to pay for female strippers to do that, and he isn't that type of guy. Thank you for having an accurate understanding of how boundaries work. You said it all perfectly, and I don't think you really need any advice. Best of luck. Hope he pulls his head out of his ass. I talked to him about it again after dinner, and he said he decided he is going to go, and I just have to be okay with it if I want our relationship to work. I told him flat out disrespecting my boundaries and going back on one he knew from the very beginning proves to me that our relationship won't work, and we just aren't compatible. He left and our relationship has ended. I'm sad, but at least it was only 6 months. If your boyfriend doesn't want to be with someone who doesn't want him to go to strip clubs, he can fucking leave. Boundaries have consequences, that's the whole point. Like an idiot, I forgot to retrieve my hidden key. Around 4:30 in the morning I woke up to him climbing into my bed. Crying that he didn't think I was going to dump him. Woman facepalming. I told him from the beginning that I consider lap dances to be cheating, and if he didn't or wasn't okay with not going, we just wouldn't pursue a relationship. So why on earth would he think I wouldn't break up with him for planning to cheat on me? I just got him to leave, since he has to be at work in 30 minutes, but holy shit. My hidden key will have to be moved or brought inside for the time being, because that was freaking frightening. For the split second I didn't know who TF was in my bed. I think the fact that he is bringing it up repeatedly and that he is such a weasel that he is trying to manipulate you with accusations about being controlling tells me that you can do better. I don't think he is ever going to get it. My 28M boyfriend isn't willing to split rent more appropriately with me. 25F. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 years and lived together for 4 of those years. We've always split bills and rent evenly. When I was in college living off of student loans, we split everything evenly. He would treat me to a few dinners here and there, but everything was usually split right down the middle. A little about him: he has no debt, his parents paid for his entire college, and gifted him their car. It's not super swanky, but it's reliable, etc. A little about me: I have not had much financial help at all from my family. I lease my own car and have student debt that I am slowly paying off. We now live in a state where the cost of living is very expensive. In the last 2 years each of our careers have gone in different paths. Because I recently graduated, I was working at an entry-level hourly job where I was making $50K for 1.5 years, and then worked my ass off and was internally hired for another position at $70K. I was only in the new position for about 6 months when I was abruptly laid off in December 2022. I had a severance package and was collecting unemployment while actively job searching, and not once did I ask him to pay for more bills or rent, etc. I landed a new job after 3+ months of job searching, and this job pays $55K a year. Yet the insurance and benefits aren't as great as my previous role, so I am paying more out of pocket for those as well. For some background, when I was promoted to the $70K job we moved to a nicer apartment and our rent nearly doubled. At the time, this was at the absolute top of my budget. Now, this rent is 50% of my monthly income. My partner is extremely good to me. He cooks and cleans a lot and he lets me have some of his meals that he makes. I'll have like one piece of chicken and then use my own ingredients to make a salad etc. We shop separately when it comes to groceries. He also makes $110K plus a year. He makes more than double what I make. He's able to save a lot of money because he doesn't have car payments or student loans like I mentioned. I recently let him know that my job is pretty rough financially, and that it's much harder to pay for basic things than I thought it would be. I wouldn't have taken this job if I wasn't laid off. I asked if he could pay $100 $200 extra a month for rent because it would really help me. I only am asking him to pay a couple extra $100 per month for rent until I can get some sort of promotion, and I am actively doing everything I can to move up, get promoted, get a raise. He's telling me to just work hard and get another job, and that I'm asking for a handout, and that $200 won't really make a difference, it's not that much money. It's really frustrating and he's insisting that we pay 50-50 because it's only fair. I feel like he's treating me like a roommate and not his girlfriend that he's been with for 6 years. For context, we are very committed and have discussed marriage. His parents see me as their daughter-in-law already. The emotional aspect of this almost hurts more, and I don't know what to do. How do you recommend that I approach this topic with him so he understands? I just want him to see my side and pay a couple extra $100 a month for rent. Edit. When I said state I meant a physical location, not like a mental state or way of life law. We moved states after I graduated during the pandemic. Edit 2. I want to add again that he is very good to me emotionally. He treats me with unconditional love and has always supported me, emotionally. He is very thoughtful. He also pays for dinners sometimes. We'll go out to dinner like twice a month or so. I buy him treats and lunches as well. He also will stock up on necessities like toilet paper and paper towels and only asks me to pay him for those sometimes. I recognize that he is incredibly good to me, but he is very conservative with his money. Edit 3. We shop separately because we have different diets. I eat a lot less food than him and he travels a lot, so many of his meals he also eats out while traveling. But he cooks dinners when he's home and I share some of them with him. Edit 4 and an update. I want to address all the "you're just a roommate he sleeps with" comments. From an outside perspective, this may look this way. However, we have been together for 6 years, my family loves him, I am very close with his family, we have agreed we want to marry each other and have children. We support each other through every life change and big event, except for apparently this one. This particular issue is hurting me emotionally because it seems that he doesn't understand what it's like to have a financial burden. Based on his financial history, he may not be able to empathize with my situation and therefore doesn't think it's a big deal. Of course, this is a major issue. I talked to him this morning and he said he would consider paying a little more for rent if I would cook and clean more, as he does the majority of the cooking and cleaning right now. There is a lot more to discuss because the issue is larger than just that, but I want to thank everyone for their input as it's been really helpful. Another solution is to downgrade your apartment and look for somewhere cheaper because you can no longer budget for it and it's not fair to make you stay somewhere you can't afford and have to lose out on other luxuries and ability to save and have fun money, and if he wants to stay, he needs to take on more of the financial burden. Boyfriend. I'm making less money than I was when we selected this apartment, and I can't afford to continue paying half the rent here any longer. Either we need to split the rent proportionally to our income, or we need to move somewhere more affordable that's in line with what I'm able to pay on my new salary. Tell him how much you can reasonably pay for your share of rent, and show him apartments that can be rented for twice your budget, so he has an idea of what he'd be giving up by selecting that option. He can decide from there. If the higher-earning partner doesn't want to split expenses proportionally, then the standard of living has to be tailored to the lower earner in the relationship. Describing your relationship, it doesn't sound like you are a couple who have talked of getting married. You sound like roommates with some benefits and a lot extra work. You say that he fulfills you emotionally, but sometimes you need more than emotions to live. You need help, and if he isn't going to be the person you go to for help, then he isn't the one you should be marrying. Bottom line, you've been with him for 6 years and he does not see you as a partner. He would rather watch you struggle and be stressed out than help you. Is he actually really good to you emotionally if he thinks this is fair and doesn't care about your overall well-being? I've never in my life made as much money as he does, but I've always helped long-term partners financially when they were suffering, and I was able. Because they were my partner, and I could never watch someone I love struggle when I could very easily help. My partner is extremely good to me. He lets me have some of his meals that he makes. I'll have like one piece of chicken and then use my own ingredients to make a salad etc. We shop separately when it comes to groceries. LOL. I, 30M, found out my wife, 30F, was flirting with coworker. Too long did not read. Found out my wife was flirting with coworker. Apparently, it ended a couple of weeks ago because of him. We talked about it yesterday and solved things. Today, I found out she went through my PC yesterday, logging off from all her accounts. It makes me believe there is more to the story. How can I get some closure so we can move on with our lives? Hi all. I think any relationship advice depends on lot of background, so I am going to provide as much as I can without making the post too lengthy. Sorry I failed. My wife, 30F, and I, 30M, have been married for almost 5 years. But we started dating around 18 years old. Until yesterday, I trusted her blindly. I would not go through her phone or her stuff because I know she loves me with all her heart and she would not put our relationship in any kind of risk. However, we went on a trip and she was quite busy with her phone. I think she thought she was being discreet, but she had her phone in a way that it was obvious she was trying to hide something. That got me a bit worried, and I noticed she had that behavior for the rest of the day, quite protective about having her phone being on her hands at all times. We went to bed, and a strange feeling was taking control over me. I could not sleep, so I went through her phone. She had sent a message to her coworker. The content of the message was clearly trying to get some sort of closure on what they had gone through. It seemed like whatever was happening had stopped a couple of weeks ago, because of him. And she had told me before that this guy, which is her supervisor, was treating her in a bad way recently. So the message was trying to sort this out. She said to this guy that she was clearly getting too much involved, and that she liked that feeling that she never had felt before. She also said in one of the last messages that the real her is good and happy, and that the other side of her is done and buried. I waited the entire day as I did not want to talk with the emotions so strong in my heart. But I could not help it, and confronted her at night. I started by telling her she was acting different in the past couple of days. I asked if there was anything I wanted to know about. She said no. I asked if she got involved emotionally with anyone in the past few weeks, looking straight in her eyes. She said no. Then I told her that, because of her recent behavior, especially the phone hiding, I went through her messages and saw what was going on. We talked and I tried to be as comprehensive as possible. I asked her if there was anything I was missing, if I should be doing anything in a different way, if I had any fault in what was going on. She said that no, I was being a great husband, and she did not understand why she had kept flirting with this guy. She has been going through a big 30-yo crisis, and I have been trying to be as understanding as possible. I told her I am not naive. I know that someone flirting with you must feel good, but that she had to communicate with me. It hurts me more that the guy was the one who ended things, not her. She told me that nothing else happened, not even a kiss, as she would not be able to forgive herself for doing such a thing. I must be stupid, because I kinda believe her. I don't think anything else happened, but at the same time I am not so sure. It hurts me to believe that if he had not stopped they would have kissed at some point. She insists that it would not have happened, but I can't believe it. At some point it would happen if they kept it going. I tried to make all of this a talk, not a fight. I even made a joke at some point, towards the end of the conversation. After we talked, I went to our bedroom and slept until this morning. I was exhausted by all those feeling. Before going to work, she asked me how I read all those messages. I told her that I read it all in her phone. She was thinking that I accessed her phone or her message via my PC. As all her accounts are logged in my PC, we basically share the PC. The thing is, she deleted some of the messages but they were sent to the trash. I did not tell her this, because then she would erase from the trash in the future and I would not be able to find out if it happened again. When I went to my PC this morning, I found out she went through my PC last night. She logged off from all her accounts. She probably saw in my email that I had a screenshot of her messages. I kept it as a backup. She might know already that I saw even the deleted files, but she probably doesn't know how. Anyways, I was willing to battle my emotions and not make a huge deal out of it. But her actions of logging off from her accounts made me suspicious again. It makes me think that she is trying to hide something else. Now I don't know how to follow up. I am going to confront her again tonight, asking why she logged off of her accounts, but she will never tell the truth if indeed something else happened. It feels like I am going to hit a dead end. How can I get some closure so we can move on with our lives? You're still trying to follow. What's the point? Took information from you, deleted the evidence and duplicates, learned how to hide her relationship if you don't have backups. You can't say anything about App's relationship with his wife or social circle. Your wife has already started to say you're oppressive and intrusive in her private life. No regrets, no transparency, no apologies. Don't bother with closing. Cheaters don't get privacy until they've proven themselves trustworthy. Her logging off of everything just tells me she plans on hiding stuff from you. Honestly, it'd be open and I'd have access, or we'd be divorced. There is no closure or moving on from this until she takes responsibility to improve things or you end it. She doesn't regret what she did because she continues to hide things. She has no idea what drove her to have an emotional affair. I'm sure she's not intending to hurt you, but until she understands why she's doing all this, your relationship isn't going to work. You can't make her do any of that, so you have a tough choice. All I will say is she might seem like your entire world because she's all you've ever known, but that doesn't mean it's a good world. Your wife was inappropriate with another man. That's a huge breach of trust and it's hurtful. The fact that she didn't end it and tell you about it is very telling. She kept lying. I feel like this is a time where your wife should be incredibly transparent to work on rebuilding trust. The fact that she removed your access to her accounts makes me think that there's more she's hiding. I can almost guarantee her phone password changed now too. I think the worst thing you did here was to joke in any way. What she did hurt you. Not funny. You're downplaying the situation. I don't think you can trust your wife. She lied and lied and lied until the evidence was too much to keep lying. Then she likely lied about everything that you couldn't prove and limited your ability to gain any evidence in future. What more is there to say? I'm sorry, dude.